and welcome once again to What's Going On. I'm Arcturus, and we are here on the Forerunners server bringing you the latest in what's going on in Watcher of Realms. As ever, I'm joined by Sebastian Keynes, and we've been lucky enough to grab Mortar Mike to join us to talk about what's going on this week. And as there has been a lot, and there is a lot more on the horizon. As ever, this is a community-based podcast, so please do remember to get involved down in the comment section, like and subscribe, and share with your guildmates. We have just passed 400 subs, so please do continue to share. The channel is growing, nice. And I'm excited for where this channel can go. So, patches galore. We've had patches on global, we've had patches on Forerunners. It's been an awful lot going on this week, and no one was expecting the global one to come out, but
yes,
it did mean that everyone has now had their opportunity to get their dirty little mitts on the upgraded Durza.
Okay, yeah, so that we'll get to it eventually, but this global, or what, the second March patch, I think it's, if I'm looking at the calendar correctly, right?
That's right.
It felt rushed, and you could tell they rushed it. I don't know why exactly they rushed it, but you could tell it wasn't ready. They weren't prepared for it, and it's just something's. My spidey sense is going off here.
Well,
and I think that a lot of this is tied to April 5th, and on that yet we still haven't heard about this migration thing. How much Skystone Gaming is going to save their butts if in fact this extension does not carry through. So just wait and see. But yeah, again, this felt rushed for the global server.
Yeah, I mean, people being so you probably are all that after the patch went live, Abyss Drake was available to some people, but not available to other people. The arena, some people had new boss modes, other people didn't. Some people's defenses had saved correctly, other people had gone to the default, which is all rolled back to the beginning, but you can't use the trainer because the trainer is using the old map structure, and it's been a real mess. And credit to the devs, they got out on the comms quickly and said, hands in the air, this is a mistake, we got to fix it. And then they gave everyone on global server 500 gems for experiencing what life is like on the Forerunner server.
I will tell you though, Arturos, that when I saw that lock in the arena, I was hoping it was permanent.
Dang.
Just set the table right now, folks. I'm just saying.
Tell us why you're mad, yo. Tell us why you're mad.
That button can go away. Fine. I don't really care. I was actually ecstatic when I saw it.
I'm
to be fair, Nyx has been saving my butt so much throughout the arena for like 2 out of 3 of my teams. Nyx by herself has been holding the fort. So,
well, the updated arena is pretty brutal, and yeah, I can just about get so on Forerunners we have the 9-phase variant of this. So the bosses hit, the enemies hit even harder. There are more of them. They've got more of their things, which we've kind of seen in the Honor's Gauntlet. So they've got modifications, and when it's single target, it's just absolutely brutal and unrelenting. The air, there are just an extra wave of mobs after phase 8, and so there's even more enemies. It starts in round 6 where there's an extra enemy appears, and then they just ramp up the number of enemies towards you. So you're basically just overrun.
Gotcha.
And AoE. So AoE Arena, they knew there were problems with people spawn camping and getting fast units out, and so they introduced Zaris. Zaris, the summon mage who comes in at really low cost and wipes out everything at spawn to try and counteract these 19, 20 cost mages who were coming in and just chaos.
Mm-hmm.
Unfortunately, this new variant of the map completely makes Zarya's useless because when the shields pop, they kill him. So, and yeah, they've upped the explosive damage, the shields pop, they do damage. Trying to manage all of that is a real nightmare. And
yeah,
it's been a brutal couple of days. I've reshuffled my team. I've just about got a team that I'm about 50-50 on the fence now. It's pretty much win one, lose one, win one, lose one on defenses. It's just
okay.
It ain't fun.
We're in arena. Let's stay in arena, and then we'll get to the patch notes. So let's just, because Mike, I don't think he has experienced this yet. And
I don't know. This is more so hearsay from you, yeah.
So, Mike, they retooled the monsters, which is fine. It's fine. I don't. That's not the problem. All these, I don't know if you can show the monsters, Arturos, outside of the battle, but
I could jump into the trainer.
They made them so now they have the ability to do damage to you. They have this kind of damage reduction that they acquire over time, which is, okay, at least you're getting some variety. But here's the annoying part of this, is to combat, in a specific mode, to combat like magic, and I'm focusing here on Praedyth and Ingrid. Some of these monsters heal for 150,000 HP, depending on how much BP you get during the battle, right? So even if you bother to compensate for that, if you don't bring somebody that can hit not only past that, but eliminate that monster before it heals again, they'll just pass you by. So what's happening, especially in anti-air, what's happening is that people are compensating for this by skyrocketing their BP on defense, and we're seeing like 600k BP differences. They don't really care about the build because they know that if somebody comes with the lower BP and challenges them, if they don't do it in a manner where they're going to be controlling the waves as much as they can and also add the power that they need to bring it down, they know that they're just going to go pass right by them because the BP has been adjusted to compensate for the defense that has the highest BP. So a lot of the logs, it isn't about the team composition. It's about who came in to hit me that was 20 to 50k higher on BP. That's the way that they're getting around because of the mechanics of the monsters. So I understand that they tried to, for AoE Arena, they tried to steer us away. For anti-arena, they tried to steer us away from Praedyth Ingrid. Okay, fine. You're gonna ask us to bring piercers. We're gonna bring him in. But if we can't meet the BP threshold, that piercer team gets obliterated. Yeah. It doesn't matter. The Ingrid Praedyth comp that push 600 BP are still going to bust you because the piercer you have can't keep up with the monsters that are healing for 150k every 3-4 seconds.
So now you mentioned the timing of how often they heal. That's a different story.
There you go. Every 3 seconds.
I was thinking mix.
Yeah, every 3 seconds restores their HP equals 6% of their max HP. And when you get down to these last waves, if you haven't got, it's almost like if you don't have a unit covering the crystal, because one is going to get past you, there's pretty much nothing you can do about it, then you will lose just on the basis that you can't clear it because the Hatchet's burst damage just isn't strong enough to take them out. So you need to have an extra unit there who can put out some serious damage. And but the heals are insane, absolutely insane.
So what's happening now is whatever you set up in Drill Master, it won't apply unless it's somebody that is hitting you with equivalent BP or is lower than yours. Anything higher, doesn't matter. You are screwed. All right. The only way you're possibly going to win is if things got screwed up on their end when they were running in an auto. What's happening here is I think that they are, number one, trying to make you stay in arena longer, and I think that they are trying to minimize the ability for you to use the auto feature now, so you stop complaining about it. Okay, here, you know the mechanic manual, right? They're not
They could just fix 3.5 speed autos. They have been a problem since day one.
That's another. But however they plan this, it's going to blow up in their face. Here in Forerunners, we have been telling them this is not set up correctly. There are differences in BP that is just completely demolishing what's on the Drill Master. And then they come back to you and say, yeah, it kind of averages the average or thing, if they're not saying you the healing formula to answer the question. So the whole thing here, in that what they're trying to do with Arena is that they're trying, to try to steer you away from using other heroes. But the problem is that the mechanic for which they're applying this whole thing with damage reduction and healing and everything else that comes with the new monster makeup is just throwing it out. There is really, if you think that there was strategy to it to begin with, they completely took it out now. I don't know. It's puzzling as to how they tested this and said, yeah, this is good. Let's give it a try. Let's see how it goes. You know, maybe all the A5s are happy. All the people that have a Lady Alexander's are fine. The ones that don't have her are just probably never going to get her. So we're okay with that. Don't worry. You know, this is, if they want her, they're going to have to push Apex and do it with, you know, all their, as much as they can with their A1s.
You referring to Alexandria?
Yeah.
Oh yeah, that's not a goal of mine. She's in the game though, and it's cool. That's not a goal of mine. I just get my 20 Apex chests and keep it going at this pace.
They're making it a reward for people that you know, are stacked up, that they are able to be push BP to the limits, and you know, just press auto and that they're happy with it and just run through. It's not meant for the common player anymore. They made that abundantly clear by the distribution of Apex coins.
There was a conversation I had with Jay of Jay and Joe a while back, and he was talking about that, and he was like, you know, it's heavily made, not necessarily by, it is by Moontime, definitely, like they put the whole structure together. But the way that Arena operates on the player side, once you get into those high rankings of like, it's almost like an organization that maintains who's gonna win and who's not gonna win, and they make it like impossible to do it. So it's definitely catered to, like, you know, that high level area, the big spenders in that pocket. I am happy to say though, in my benefit, I probably won't see a Lady Alexandria in my time of playing Watcher Realm, which I'm happy for. But like, at the same time, you know, it trickles down to being a challenge of like, hey, making the content almost impossible for everybody coming down instead of just in that pocket. That's the issue that you're going to run into too.
The trouble is that you're now getting sort of like so much compression of all of these sort of like relatively good teams that are now trickling down. The Odyssey quest, where you have to finish in Plat 3 for 3 weeks, is becoming harder and harder and harder. And that was never the intent of that thing. It was supposed to be something which was attainable. Now it's becoming less and less attainable as fewer people can make Apex because of the change in difficulty. Fewer people are therefore making Overlord, and therefore there's more grouping in Plat 3 where it's messier. So it's even harder to end in Plat 3 if you don't have a seriously built squad. And we've brought this up previously, and it's something which we keep coming back to, that they've introduced this without thinking about all of the implications of what they're doing. And this is one which is really going to hurt players, because in it becomes so useful in so many different in the guild bosses, that to make him almost unavailable is going to really upset people. Alexandra is nice to have. She's great in GVG, but she's expensive to deploy.
I can send you the screenshots of what most Lady Alexandra teams look like in the global server after we're done with them. So Lady Alexandra might be more PvP focused, but in arena, it doesn't scare us anymore in GVG, in the Overlord ranks anymore. I'll go ahead and finish your thought, but I was just going to say I think that I don't know if they're driving arena for the majority of the player base to live in Plat 3 and they just don't want to have as many people in Overlord and Apex anymore. And I don't know if this is one way that they think is going to work that way. And I don't listen. Artur, when I set up a poll in the Dragon Slayers community, I set up one through my channel asking people how much they like Arena. Because I'm going to tell you that when I send suggestions about Arena, and I have to do it through the customer service channel sometimes because Bunny can't take care of everything. So the problem was that every reply I get back, sometimes it says, well, we love the changes as they are, and we think that the player base can appreciate it. And then I also get, we can't because I have suggested that. It's like, lastly, if all of this can be done, just shut down Arena because it's a crap mode. And I always get, well, we can't shut down Arena because a majority of our players love the content.
Play the content. That's a better way to put it. Play the content.
They say love the content. So when I go and post a poll and ask them, all right, show me, you, the community, they're subscribed to my channel. Okay, prove me I'm wrong. Do you love the content? Okay, out of the about 3/4 of the people that voted on this poll either said, no, I hate it, or I only do it because I have wishes to get Lady Alexandra. So we knew already that the content was so crap that Moonton had to add something so people would want to do it. And now it's showing up as data on this, even though there's a small percentage, it's showing up. A sample size is a sample size. I'm only doing it because I want Apex coins. How is that content? It does not make sense right now as to how they're managing this. It's puzzling to me.
What would you say the solution, besides closing Arena? What would you say your solution would be? I know you were ready. You had that cocked and loaded. What would you say would be your solution of what the situation that it's in right now?
I thought that there was promise in their ideology of changing Arena when they introduced the honors gauntlet. It's honors gauntlet, right?
Okay.
RTA
Yeah.
Because here's what was happening. It was, okay, we're gonna beef up our monsters a little bit, but I'm also gonna give you some mechanics that you can use on the side. So we were talking about the commander skills, right? And you can stun people, or you can fatigue them and draw their damage a little bit back, right? So I was thinking to myself, oh man, if they can put this in arenas in some way, shape, or form, right? Where you are going to either, all right, if I can sap fatigue into an Ingrid Previous comp and reduce their damage a little bit, maybe I have that opportunity to get ahead of them or try to catch up to them, right? Or maybe there was what was the other one?
Unfair advantage would be a good one against teams which are really cheap to get the ball rolling. So you lose, you have a low cost recovery rate, but then as soon as you lose the round, you get a massive spike of cost. So you have the opportunity then to accelerate out your team a lot faster, and you can push on and probably catch up with these teams where you've lost a lot of health in the first round because you haven't been able to get your team out fast.
So in addition to possibly changing the demon soldiers, I have always thought that if you either give us some type of mechanic similar to this, it doesn't have to be a carbon copy of what this RTA system is, but at least give advantage to somebody, right? So, for example, I would say it's something where you just get like a boon for that week where it says, oh, hey, for this mode this week, marksmen get a 5% or 10% damage.
Yeah, I love that.
Right?
Yeah.
Or you go faction and you say, okay, piercers do 25% extra damage. And now you're giving that person, okay, do I want to ride my Ingrid's Prettiest comp, an anti-air this week, knowing that Iobar, Silas, and what's the new one that they just came out? Yuri now can do 25% extra damage on the wave, right? Now, if you want to bring those other mechanics about damage reduction and all the stuff going on, sure. And there can be some weeks where you can say, okay, Balderon can do 20% extra damage, or he gains an extra stack of chaotic so he lives longer, so he can sustain the demon soldiers packing at him a little. Sure, do that. At least you're giving that particular time, you're giving the chaotic unit a chance for that week, right? So you keep the players that have those heroes happy, because at least you know. And at the end with the seasonal rewards, because now they have weekly and then they have seasonal rewards. Make the seasonal rewards then be a comprehensive reward system based on how you finish throughout the weeks. So you're not discriminated because you didn't have a particular set that you have to consistently compete with throughout the 8 weeks to get the rewards that you want to get Lady Alexandra. So for me, I thought it was promising when I saw all these features on Honor's Gauntlet, and it just when they then rolled out the new arena and they said, nah, all you have to do, people, now is you have to deal with the demon soldiers coming at you, hitting harder with damage reduction, and they're healing for more than the HP that you were able to reduce during the first 3 seconds. Good luck.
I love that idea, as you mentioned, of swapping like bonuses per factions or like per class or something. I also, probably already know this, I also play a bit of Marvel Rivals, and one of the things they do is they buff and they adjust heroes like weekly or bi-weekly, and so they'll still have the same like the kits and stuff, but they'll do like 20% more healing, or like they're like 10% more HP or something like that, and it keeps the game where, you know, you can still do what you do well, but it's just enough to say, maybe I should try something different. Maybe I should mix it up. I love that idea. As soon as you mentioned that, I was like, I know a game that does it well. People can't complain because it's PvP content, but I love that idea of that slight mix up without having to rechange the entire coding of everything. Just like you do in Void Rift right now. It doesn't have to be that strong, but it should be something noticeable.
And right now, I'm currently playing another game that is a little bit more focused on PvP. The whole idea is to make your hero stronger for the PvP aspect of it, because that's what it is about. And what is the nice thing about the roster, even though it's limited, one of the things that I saw right away was, okay, so if I pick hero ABC, they have a certain faction designation, right? So then if I put all of them 3 together into the battlefield, they gain attack, HP, and defense. All right. Now, I decide, okay, based on what I'm seeing the other defensive side doing, if I then swap one out and then bring him in, now they gain resistance, because I'm noticing that other guy has stun control. So I bring somebody, I swap them out. They still have the same bonus, but now instead of attack, HP, is defense is now attack, HP, and control resistance. So you can start.
I love that.
Right. So in a game like this, which I don't think is really meant for this stuff, the PvP aspect of it. For something like this, it would have been. It's like, okay, you want to bring in Pretty Singlet, that's fine for this mode, but for this particular week, if you bring in Iobar, Yuri, and another marksman for the faction, now you're going to get this damage boost, and you're going to get an HP boost to make sure that you're not blasted off the map by the demon soldiers. All right.
Yeah. I love that.
Well, why Why do you think that when you sat down and said, "Oh, let's just make the demon filter release him quickly," and then for single target arena, hey, you know what? We're gonna back up the tiles, but still give them 12 cost so they can place Valderon in first and give them the advantage on the early waves? What design is that? That is hustling.
It's a design that sells ancient summon stones for when there's a Valor on that.
Yeah, which isn't what you want. Like I will say one thing I will say I do like about the game is that the older heroes, even though they're getting crept on, so to speak, they're finding ways to like make them still relevant. Like they're giving them exclusive artifacts, they're bringing out gear that's exclusive to them to bring them back into the fold. I love that idea. But then when it still just says, hey, you know, these heroes are kind of pointless if you don't have a Valderon or Ingrid or Praetus, because Arena's just gonna, like you said, BP stack against you or just run this single meta. Like I can open Arena right now and I know like 4 out of 5 teams are Ingrid and Praetus teams. And I'm in like top gold. I'm not even in Apex. You know, I'm going to do that last minute push to get that chest. But like that's not what you want people to do. You want people to feel good about what they have. And they've been, to me, I think they've been doing a good job with the majority of the pool. But when it comes to like, okay, as soon as I get into Overlord, I'm right back out of Overlord because it's a whole different ballpark in there. You know, and like you said, like the 600 BP and stuff, like you can see a little hint of the next level of arena when you're at the highest level of that arena. You start seeing the question marks and stuff, but then you're like, oh, okay, here it comes. There's the wall.
Yeah.
And plus adjusting those stats is really good because it gives them more testing data to see what works and what doesn't work. Every time we do extra HP, people play more of the content. Every time we do this adjustment, people don't like playing. Every time, you know, like they can measure it over time and say, hey, okay, this might be a new standard we want to keep in for the content, and then we still make modifications on top of that. But that does involve a lot of testing. And we would like to see that
they're not doing enough of it. They're rushing it, and you can tell. You can tell. And I guess in the current format, Mike, if they don't want to take into account everything that we discussed previously here in the last couple minutes, is think that in order for us to be able to compensate how these demon soldiers are behaving, especially in the last wave, maybe one way, and I don't know how Arturos would feel about this, maybe one way that we could possibly get a little bit, at least of a slight, I guess, advantage or ability to keep up with it a little bit more, is to give us a 6 hero to bring in, but we cannot deploy 6 at the time. It has to be 5. So is, all right, in this wave, do I want to still stay up front, or do I want to strategize in a way to start retreating heroes from where I place them and put them in the back somewhere? Start changing the formation as the wave comes in. Because I can tell you right now, you're not going to be able to sustain with 4 in some of these setups. It's going to be really difficult. It's really difficult to maintain with 4. And based on how I'm seeing everybody crowding right now and just hoping to sustain at the front as much as they can before they get clapped out at the end. That's essentially what's happening right now. But I think one way would be add that 6 hero, but you just can't use them until you bring somebody back. Maybe that's the way. But again, that's copying Honor's Gauntlet, and I was hoping that we did not have to do that when they did Rise.
Yeah, I mean, Arena is a mess at the moment. It's not fun. Single target, it's Valderon or bust, really. If you don't have, and even if it's not Valderon, it's the A3 Ardia who's behind him who's actually doing all of the damage. But it's that kind of chaos that it's becoming very hero specific to have a chance. And that's not really what it should be about. It should be a little bit more varied. And the boon idea, the buffs, is definitely a way of making it more accessible. It encourages people to think a bit, to try something new. Obviously, some people are going to hate it, but at the end of the day, we can't go on as it is because people just don't want to play.
Yeah, when the season resets on April 7th, it's going to be, okay, it's going to be two camps. I can already see it. Some are going to be, what the hell is this? And then they're going to be the other ones packed with A5 everything saying, I don't see the big deal. That's how it's going to be. So get ready. Whether it's videos or, however things are going to play out there. All right. You asked for it, but here in Forerunners, I'm assuming it can't have been just Arturo's and I saying this thing is a disaster. Don't roll it out. And they still did it. So, all right, okay. So all of you that are saying, ooh, 9th wave, I can't wait to see this. You haven't experienced that.
So my single target arena team front unit received 5.5 million damage during a 9-wave combat. That's kind of how much damage is coming in.
That's crazy.
And the only reason I was able to keep pace was the fact it's Jira who gets a benefit from going slowly. But obviously, if you've got a really strong team, then you might not see 5.5 million damage because you'll kill it before 5.5 million damage is done. But it really, really brutal. And
that's a lot. Jeez.
The nightmare teams just can't. You won't see. Well, you might see 1 or 2 Salazar teams. I could not get Salazar to work. But yeah, it's nuts. Okay.
Do you have a sense on how things might play out by what you heard us discussing here, or do you see it as a positive? How they're changing it? I really want to get your perspective on how you think this is going to play out, given all the information that we've given you so far.
Are you referring to me on that one?
Yeah. Because you haven't experienced it yet, right?
I haven't.
Right, and so this is going to come when the season resets. You have to reset your defenses, and I'm going to tell you, if you want to make you're going to have to spend a good amount of time setting that drill master. But then you're going to find that whatever you do won't matter against the high BP team.
Yeah, it's challenging because you mentioned the high BP team issue. I think that's the biggest issue because, I mean, you can play the game for over a year and just not have high BP heroes, period. And so that's just because, you can have a Uridin and that's all you got, and you're hoping that it carries the weight, but then the rest of your team doesn't have the load, or however the cookies fall on that. I do hope that they take a moment and revamp it. And go. I love the idea that you mentioned of having the the weekly booms or the weekly nerfs or something like that. I just think that's the right way to go with Arena. Keep anything that is competitive should be shooken up often, but it shouldn't have an earthquake. It shouldn't be to where I don't recognize what I'm playing anymore. It should be, you know what? I enjoy this. I want to try my team. I should be able to enter the content and consider or have the idea of, should I try a different team this week? Oh, you know what? I like these guys, but with this buff, I probably can pull off that other team I want to try out. And then build your drill master team and kind of work from there. Like you said, the idea of them just having a BP wall is what you don't want in any content involving competitive content against one another. So yeah, I would like for that not to be an issue. I love the idea you mentioned. I'm sticking to that because as soon as you mentioned it, like bells went off in my head of what they can do with that. And I've played other games, mobile games, gacha games that had that feature, and I liked Arena in it. And I was like, you know what? That's a cool little concept. Now seeing it in more games, I think it's a good idea to do. Now testing it, sure, might be an issue, but I think they should go a different path than what I'm hearing, because y'all have already told me 2 problems. You don't have the heroes, you don't have the BP. That's a bad combination for anybody getting out of like Plat 3, whatever, going to wearing the gold. And I don't know if you want to tie that into, even if it's possible, I don't think you want to tie that into the next class of heroes as being their job to clean that up. That's a lot of responsibility.
Yeah, I hope not either. And that's the other worry that I have as well. Yeah, is that that's part of the power creep. A power creep that they might now be introducing, either whether I think it's going to be heroes now. It's not what I was hoping that it would be gear or some type of artifact change or something. It's going to be hero. And that's the unfortunate part about all this. And so I'll just out this rant, Mike, by saying this is not going to be an earthquake. It's going to be a tsunami.
Yeah.
Yeah, because all that's going to remain is going to be the ones that are fortunate enough to have the stacked accounts. That's going to be it.
The highest stacks survive the wave.
Exactly. You got it. So, all right. So I'll let Arturos steer us over to the next.
So half an hour rant about Arena out of the way. So we briefly touched on the changes to Solcadens. I will briefly say that these patch notes have drastically changed from the ones that originally came out a couple of days ago on Forerunners, and we have the receipts. We will show them. But basically, it read like a massive nerf to Solcadens, and you might have heard people going, "Solcadens is being nerfed. Solcadens being." No, it's not actually what's happened. We'll jump over to the gallery and just have a quick look at him, because now he's now his
This is the problem with Arena. You're playing commons and uncommons. You got to be playing the legend.
So here we go. So his skills have all been adjusted. So his Hellfire Emperor talent has now been buffed. So it's now base damage increase of 30% goes to 40%, and this also goes from 20% to 30% on that. So that's been increased. That's one thing. This has also been increased. His Synergy Blaze. And this means that his little flames that he gets on his back in between ultimates do more damage during the ultimate. So he's got a nice little amount of extra damage there. His Lord skill's been tweaked, so the duration of it has gone from 10 seconds to 15 seconds. All faction members have still got the buff of 30% penetration, and that's in addition to dealing 30% bonus damage to elites and bosses. But the big thing that's changed is the Pyro Blitz skill. Well, there's kind of two things. First of all, the explosion from his big ball there has gone up from 100% AoE damage to 300% AoE damage. And the Pyro Blitz has massively changed. It's a big wall of text, and you probably can't see it behind my head. Move myself over here. So this has massively changed from being all infernal units contributing to it, up to 800% damage, to being 2 units now contributing, and they are contributing 140% of their attack and 100% of their crit damage to him to boost his stats up for the big splash damage. And yeah, it reads really weird because it seems that you're going down from having more units, but the total amount of attack increase is the 800%, exactly the same as it was. The fact that only 2 units are changed, which means that technically you can run an infernal team. You can get away with having fewer DPS infernals on your team, so you can bring in other units to have more variation, and that means that you can try to do different things. And finally, the splash damage, because of you getting this big explosion, you're now getting one big hit, but then they kind of get the sustained damage over a long period of time. And the fact that he's applying vulnerabilities at his A1 for a longer period of time means that other units can benefit massively. I found that my Sun Wukong is now doing 50k more damage in Nightmare 4 because of this change. So those extra couple of seconds just gives him the opportunity to get out more hits, to do more damage with his vulnerability supply. So it's made a big difference. Sebastian has done a really good video on all of this. I won't try and replicate on here because you do need to like really zoom in on the numbers, the damage numbers, to see how much it is. But basically, initial hits were like doing 7 million with my guys in just a basic test of Solcadens and Dolores and a healer, and now he's doing 4.5 million on the first hit. But then if he's got other units, he's then still stacking for like 1 million to 1 million to like 3 million on the secondary hits. So that overall his damage has gone up, but the initial damage burst has gone down. So it's a little bit here and there.
No, but he is dealing more damage now with those extra. Yeah, that what's the change to Pyro Blitz is allowing him, or the change to the ultimate's allowing him to do now. Because yes, you're right. It's not one devastating hit now. It's a compounding series of hits that occur. So, Mike, if you haven't seen that video, it's what I showed was in the former version of him. It was he hit, but like this very big hit. So the way that I set things up, it was like his ultimate dealt 7.3, 7.4 million. That one shot. Then everything else was 5 digits, 6 digits, right? Low 6 digits in terms of damage. So now what's happening is he sets himself up, he gets the attributes, and not only is that extending through the build-up, but also it is extending for the duration of the ultimate. So what you're seeing is, boom, you get that hit, but now you only see the initial one being 4-6. And you're like, oh, whoa, what? Okay. But then as I still watching the clip, I saw 1.2, 1.6, 2, 1.2, and then at the end, 3.
Yeah.
So then you start adding all of that up over time, it's more damage. And the other thing to emphasize here that I like about is his Lord skill now goes from 10 to 15 seconds. That's a 50% increase on the amount of penetration that you're getting in addition to everything else. Now, if you then add this up, and I wish Cataclysm would be better, but you have an Infernal Ring that gives him even more penetration, right? And
for 12 seconds.
Yeah, exactly. So you start adding all of this, and then if you have Hex and you're lucky to get his weapon, you're giving him even more penetration. Okay, the Infernos are getting a little up. I appreciate this, but yeah, this change has been awesome for him. Now, there is a little bit of a penalty because sometimes you could use him as a single mage. You didn't need other, for him to deal a devastating blow if you would need him for G.
Like, Gear Dungeon 2 was a classic place people used it.
Now they're punishing you a little bit because he's not doing as much damage if you don't have other Infernos in there. But if you even just bring one Inferno, he can do as much damage, at least in the settings that I did. He can do just as much damage as he did by having 3 with them previously. And in 2, sky's the limit. So, yeah.
That's awesome.
That was the change. So a couple of things here that I heard you say, Arturos, regarding the passive, the Synergy Blaze.
Yeah.
What are you seeing? Because I'm here in the global server.
Fiery Essence has not gone up the amount of extra damage.
Yeah, but I have 80%.
Oh, no, I must have misread that.
Okay. No, because this was in the patch notes just confused the hell out of us too, right? So I just want to make sure that we're not mixing both of them up. And then in the ultimate is 300% AoE damage on that blast, but what changed was the Pyroblast. But the Pyroblast damage, the splash damage, that went from 100 to 300. That's what I have here. That's why I triple referenced this before I made the video, because I wanted to make sure that I illustrated the changes that actually were applied. Because the patch note said the talent did this and the passive did it, and then no, that was not the case. It was our focus here to change him was on the Lord skill and the Pyro Blitz. It's essentially what came down to.
Oh. I like it. I mean, I don't have him yet, but
Yeah, my global account doesn't have him yet. I do have him here in the Forerunner server, so I might get a little bit of playtime with him. And for a while there, it was like the strong debate of whether you would invest a Soulstone in somebody like Solcadens or Twinfield to get him to A1. I think that now this just put him back up there. So if you have a Soulstone you've just been saving and you pull Solcadens, yes, you want to give him the vulnerability. It's just going to add more damage to whatever comp you bring in. So yeah, he's still on top now of who deserves an unpolished Soulstone, just to at least get him to A1.
Yeah.
Oh, polished Soulstone in that case, right?
It would be yeah, I get them both confused. So it would be the legendary Soulstone. Let's go to the legendary Soulstone. I think that's how it's labeled in the storage bag. So,
I think Impala is just a bigger name, so we say it first.
Yeah.
Okay, so Uridin has had a minor bug fix where he would actively attack enemies in an invisibility state. Okay.
Yeah,
so
both you
obviously.
Yeah.
He's upset. He said the people aren't using me.
It was secret there for a minute.
Probably was stuff like that, where people were exploiting a bug where he was able to attack invisible enemies. Ares got a bug fix where he would also attack enemies in the invisible state. But I mean, that's kind of more understandable with Ares because he has his map-wide attack. So if someone's invisible on the other side of the map, the code is going, I need to attack a unit, and while it's not necessarily visible by his feet, it's going, well, there's a unit there, I'll hit it. I mean, I guess it's this. I don't know if they've also seen whether the Supreme Arbiter's fate skill is working in the same way, because I can kind of imagine that it would if you've got this. And again, Lady Alexandra would be another one who would mark a unit miles away and start hitting them from the other side of the map. So Devs, 2 more units to check in your thing here. Attacking invisible units. Honors Gauntlet, we've talked enough about Arena. It is what it is. Oh yeah, they added a preview for the next round's monster spawns, and you get a little counter of how many enemies you have in the corner, which is, I mean, it's okay. It kind of lets you know this is the stage where I'm going to be overrun. It's about as useful as it is, but I guess
it sounds like it'd be more helpful for newer players than anything, like just quality of life experience. But yeah, we'll know what's coming after the first match.
Yeah. Well, I guess it's useful for if you're thinking about it in the later stages, like 8 and 9. It's like, okay, so I can probably use an ultimate now to wipe out this wave, but what's the impact going to be for the next wave? Or do I want to just say, I'll take the hits for now and then save up my ultimates for the next phase? Because that is literally going to be the thing which saves you, whether you get one ultimate off or not. Because the amount of damage you need to get out to clear some of these waves.
I think that this would be a nicer feature if somehow in the future, and I'm going to give them too much credit, they're planning this, that they would rotate the monsters coming out every week. Then I would say, okay.
I'm here for that.
Aside from that,
we know it's possible because the Honor Gauntlet does have a random mode where it kicks out. Random.
What? This? Yes, exactly. Oh no. Okay, I can't go back to renting. No. All right, chill. All right. Go ahead. I'm sorry. I forgot about the rotating months. Oh man. All right. Oof.
Yeah.
That was great. Okay, so there were no more rotating monsters mentioned in this conversation.
But he just reminded me. It's like that would have been a nice thing. Just rotate him out. Now we see an indicator. Oh, hey, wait a minute. I got to prepare for those guys. Okay. Maybe I don't want to use my ultimates here. I see it. All right. Oh, that would have been a cool change. Oh, God. Just once. Let me into the development team meeting just once, please. Zoom me in if you have to. Come on. I don't have to go to China. Just zoom me in.
You can slap the table.
Whatever meeting app a China's allowed to use, bring me in. I'll download it.
Okay, so moving on. So this is a really nice quality of life feature. Gear sets, and I will just finish up these and then jump into the things just to show it off. Gear sets, you can now say mandatory substats. Mandatory substats you want to see in your gear sets, which is a really nice feature. So no more are you going to end up with a piece of attack gear that doesn't have crit rate or doesn't have attack speed, because you can instantly have those unthumbed and you can just insta-sell them. So that's really nice. More gear plans. That's really good, because I was ranting to them the other week that they've introduced more content and they capped it at 50. So now having an extra 30 means we've got more flexibility dealing with Abyss. I actually only asked for 10, so the fact they're giving an extra 30 is really, really nice. Thumbs up there, devs. And increase Demon Soldier drop rate in gear raids. I've not really seen evidence of this. In the last Oracle's trial last week, I think I must have done about 2,500 to 3,000 runs, and I picked out about maybe 100 epic shards out of that. It was really low drops, and I tried doing seed method and that was doing nothing. So maybe they've tweaked something in the back end, but
what have I always kid to you about when it comes to this drop rate shit is I've always told you, yes, they might have it right now at legendary drop of a demon soldier is 0.025%. And they might say, okay, let's boost it up to 0.03 and then patch notes, I think. Okay. So again, being that this is a rant episode, is if you really want to make us believe that you're increasing the raids, you have to do the same thing that you just said you're going to do with the heroes. Show us drop rate for everything, just like every other game is doing now, because they have to compensate for loot box laws or whatever it is in separate countries. And so they're trying to formalize things for everybody. And they say, okay, if you're going to forge, here are your chances to get the Sutra from Hex. If you are going to be doing forging for weapons and exclusive, here's your chance for you to get a weapon for Hex. Just put it all. It doesn't have to be in the client or in the game, because a lot of these other games just redirect you to their website. Yeah. Now, what comes as a problem with buggy websites, we know this. So I can.
Yeah.
Sebastian knows all about that.
Yeah, that exists. Yep.
Not only are we experiencing all this stuff, but I have always said quality control is an issue for Moonton. I don't know what it is. When, for example, in Forerunners, we tell them, listen, when you forge 10 pieces of gear using the mats and you're only getting 6, there is something going on here. Could you look and fix it? And they say, yes, we'll look into that. They fix it in Forerunners, but hey, guess what? The bug shows up on global. Hey, didn't you bother checking that before you decide to do this? What are you doing over there? Not only that, Abyss 1 requires a whole different roster from Nightmare 4 and Nightmare 3. Didn't you guys learn from AMR 19, 20, 21, 22 and say, maybe we should make a separate preset for Abyss 1 so people don't have to go back and forth and start flipping rosters around? I mean, pay attention to what you're doing. Think a little bit ahead. Make sure you cross the T's and dots the I's before you roll out stuff like this. Because that is one thing that I told them here in the Forerunners. Listen, you may wanna make sure that you have a different preset for Abyss 1 before you roll out this to global. No, sorry, we gotta hurry and rush these things out and give you the content that says we'll fix it later. But in the meantime, you guys deal with this.
I know this. We've kind of like skirting around this, but the fact that this patch came out of nowhere on global, I think a lot of it is tied into this Kingdom Come event, which starts next week. So I think. Sorry, Sebastian, you broke up.
No, I said yeah, sure. The Kingdom Come event, whatever. It didn't need Abyss one to be rushed. It didn't need it. No, I don't think it did, unless there's something ahead that they're planning. But the leaks don't seem to indicate that. So I don't know. I really don't know what the rush was.
Well, the leaks on Discord are DOA. I've seen some messages from that group, and they're like, "Yeah, we."
No, I'm not talking about that. There is other avenues where this stuff is being sprinkled out. They can't completely. Yeah, you said it. Yeah,
the way you said it, yeah.
You said it. All right. Hey, you can't shut everything down. Listen, if you shut down an avenue for this information to be dispersed, there will be another avenue that opens. That's all I'm going to say. Okay? Yeah. So you can try to squash it as much as possible. It'll pop up somewhere.
We've said it before. We've said it time and time again. Give us a roadmap. That's what that's why people get so excited about the leaks. Is the fact that there is no formal dev roadmap, other than like once a year from where they'll get one content creator in and they'll have a chat with them. But anyway,
with stuff questions.
Can I say this too, just to add it in? I know you got the next point you're gonna mention. I proposed to Bunny. I said, if you guys are ever doing what's going on next and watching Realms video, I will be the voice. Let me know what I need to do. I will be so ready to do those videos. You will see the hype. I will sell it with 3 price tags. Let this and then they were like, we're not doing any of those videos in the future. I was like, but then how would I know other than a text message I get in the video game about it, and that I normally ignore the red dot unless I go on YouTube and then watch somebody who did read the red dot 2 days later. So I would like for those to come back for sure.
So definitely, the whole point of coming over to this section of the game was to show off the sort of the different fact you can have essential attributes on your combat sets, and you can be a bit more split it out. So you could limit that to be the attack primaries, and then you could change that to essentials, having that, and then have the critical damage ones to have different primaries, different substats as essentials. So you can play around a bit more. I don't know how many plans you can have. I don't think it's an infinite number. I think it's maybe 10 or so, so you can't go crazy. But yeah, the fact they've allowed you to have some more, and they've allowed you to set these essential attributes, is really, really nice. It's a really nice quality of life feature, and just makes gear management a little bit easier.
Okay, so have you actually had a chance to test it? So let's say, because I'm gonna toy around with this now too, and I'm gonna farm a little bit and see if he does it. So if I put defense, so for what do you have there? Astral Guardian, and okay, so let's say that I move HP to essentials. Do I need to still keep that on the secondary to make sure that when it does see it, the 3, that it matches them, or that you get the thumbs up, or is it okay? Now I can do, for example, HP as the essential, and then go up top and say attack speed and defense bonus, and those are the 2 that I need.
I haven't tried doing that. That would be an interesting one to run. I would expect it to be, you couldn't have an essential if you didn't have the defined secondary. But okay. I mean, it depends how they coded it, because otherwise it doesn't make sense.
That is my concern. So I'll set it up at least for something simple, and then I'll farm a little bit and see what happens. But that's what I'm wondering, is even if you pick it as to be the essential, do you still have to maintain it on the secondary to make sure you get the thumbs up?
Yeah.
Now, given that they give us this as well, curious as to why they didn't increase the number of rules that we could get, at least by 10.
I don't know. I don't know because I don't know how many rules you can have.
I thought it was 20, wasn't it? Or am I misremembering that?
I want to say there is a cap on the rule limit.
I know there's
20
a
was a
cap.
cap. 20. That's 20.
It is 20. I wonder why they didn't boost this up, because I think that people are going to say, hey, listen, you gave us this. We need a little bit more now because there's a little bit of variability. We want our thumbs up. So I don't know. We'll see how it plays out. But I think adding another 5 or 10 wouldn't have hurt them.
Yeah.
Cure life leapfrogging. That's all it is. Cure well leapfrogging. We know it's a solution. Roll it out to make
And you
a
know
bigger
what?
impact later.
And that is the thing with software development back in the 90s, right? You would just release something, but you knew there was buggy, so you would say, yes, we know there's bugs, but let's just say we'll roll them out in a month and say, yes, we're making the software better, so buy it. Or
That's it.
This is buggy, but the next version is gonna be even better, so buy that. Right? So I wonder if that's kind of what they're doing. It's like, okay, we need something for May. You know what? This fix here with Abyss 1 needing a different preset. Let's call that a queue of quality of life feature in the May update. Let's just delay it a little bit.
Oh yeah. I'm sure of it. Like there hasn't been a single Windows software that's come out completed yet. So I think we're in the same boat.
Right. So Forerunners doesn't get the splash banners of what's actually coming for the Kingdom Come event. So we've only got just sort of like the headlines here. But basically the takeaways are you log in for the full 30 days, you get a Nyx skin. There's a chance to get ancient summoning crystals. There's a chance to get uncommon soul stones. There you get an in-game currency which is going to let you buy privilege cards, refining crystals, legendary skill crystals. So that's all good. Lucky balloons, there you go, that's what you're going to get. I don't know, I'm kind of hoping they have one of those sort of roguelike type events in it, because those are some of the most fun content you have in it, where you do so much damage and then you get the boss down and you get the cards and you get to like play around and do some playing around to sort of come up with a comp that tries and encourages you to spend more time playing that. Okay, it takes you away from other elements of the game, but that's fun. That's what people like doing, the theory crafting, the replaying, to try and push their scores, to beat themselves, to beat their guildmate. So yeah, that's what I kind of hope is in it. But we shall see.
Let's see it come together.
So, do we want to talk briefly about tactical mastery stuff, or do we want to kind of leave that for when there's more confirmed information? Because it's started to appear, but it's really high level. And you guys have got test server access, and obviously if there is stuff there and you can't talk about it, that's fine. But even if you just want to do some basic speculation, that's let's hear your thoughts.
I think it's still in its infancy stages. It's more hearsay than anything. I mean, not like giving like leaks or anything, but like it's still a big question mark of what it is, what it looks like in gameplay, what it looks like on the how to acquire them, how easy are they going to be to access. Do you get a free one in the game when it comes out? Like are they going to be faction specific? It's still a lot. It's a hot button topic, which is great, but I haven't found enough new news, if that makes sense, covering it yet. But I am definitely looking forward to it. But I think they're going to start rolling out. If they start putting this stuff in global already, I mean, it's kind of this isn't even the carriage before the horse. This is the dust before the carriage. And dropping that in global to be found, quote unquote. So I hope it doesn't come to them rushing out content quickly, because now that's something that is visible in there. But I personally myself don't know enough yet. I'm kind of just going by everything that people are mentioning, but I kind of wait till test servers so I can say, okay, it's out here, it's officially doing something, and then I'll talk about it when I do a live or something. I haven't seen it yet. I haven't seen enough of it yet, but I did manage to find that icon.
we we can say that there is that icon in the test server and the Forerunner server, and no, we have told us we haven't been given the embargo notice to do not.
Yeah.
So that's always a hint to us to say it's not in the test server yet. Once
it's not.
And we get notices about it, you don't talk about it until this date. Then we know, okay, then it's coming in. But it's all speculation at this time. They're fun videos for people that are making them because they can just say, "Oh, we might get a hero that does this or something." I imagine that to start with, we're probably going to get maybe a fusion, or there may be a couple of units to get that dual designation or triple designation, just to make sure that there's something to list to build on. I hope, and Mike said it, but I do hope that there is not going to be a flurry of, here is the new class. Now, here is 15x, 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 and try to get all these heroes. It's going to get very boring right away. And if they start doing this, it's a bad indicator.
You know what I'm thinking, Sebastian? You know what I'm thinking? One word. Mythical. Primal. That's all I'm thinking.
Yeah, it could be that derivative of that, and I hope it is. Yeah, exactly.
I hope it isn't.
But I hope that this is essentially, it's supposed to be a class that apparently can be played anywhere from some of the rumors that I've been hearing. And I gave kind of an idea similar to that. It's like a hero that you can either put in as a ground tile or a platform tile, but you have to declare it before you bring it into the battlefield, right? So it'd be interesting to see exactly how this kind of shakes things up a little bit with the classes that we have. I really thought that they were going to bring more nameables into the game, but we haven't seen those. There's still just 2 of them, so that's another class that it expand on. So I think that the decision making right now is being driven by all the whiny people, and I would let's say the end gamers, the ones that spend, that are all crying about there's no new content, give us new content, that are going to, that want to see this type of, and then I think that leads to the accelerated schedule that they've been having. So I know and to add to this too, Mike, you at the time you were really excited about the content coming to the game, the new arena, Abyss 1, and all this stuff. So have you had a chance to play with Abyss 1, and have you really had the opportunity to evaluate it from a late game point of view type of thing? Because early game, they're still battling to get to Nightmare 4, so I don't think that to them it's going to
Nightmare 1,
right.
It is off limits. It is off limits until you have beaten everything else in the game, and I say that for 2 reasons. One, because you just won't have the heroes. That's number 1. Number 2, it isn't worth it yet, because everybody that's playing right now has to have a guild that's on the same page and is equally as well versed and skilled as you are to be able to get the best rewards. Right now, if you knock the boss out and got top chest, it's like 4 rewards. But if you beat the other boss right before it, you get 6 rewards because you guys are going to kill the beast. But on average, you have to have between each person in the guild
22,000. It's about 22,000.
20K, 22,000.
So we calculated that there's about 600 and 650 HP. 600,000, between 650 and 680 HP on this thing. So you've got to have everyone pulling their weight to get at least the 3rd chest to take this down. Now, obviously, if you've got some people who are doing really well, like Phoebo, who's now hitting low 40s, then that's going to bring that requirement down. But if you're not in one of those guilds, then play around with it. Don't push it. I've been telling my guild, just it's there, play with it. No one's saying you must spend your keys on this. It's very much casual. Just try it, play it. Let's see where you go. And I think it's still very much in the let's learn the strategies phases. I mean, there's lots of people who's like, oh yeah, I'm using this composition. It's like, that's great. Now, where are you putting the units? Because it's still really difficult to communicate with that. I mean, I know the devs have got their tactics site, and they keep pushing and say, come and do a tactics thing for us on our website. It's like, I have to register with a weird website that I don't trust. So no.
Yeah. That's the truth too. But
the fact that the thing doesn't crash when you're trying to put together a plan, that doesn't bother you either. I mean, it's just
I've never used it. It's like I had to register. It's like, yep, no, I'm out.
I tried because Bonnie had asked me to review it, and I said I'll give it a shot, but I don't think you want to make me. You want me making a video saying, "Oh, my Chrome crashed. Sorry, can't show you exactly." It's possibly type of system that they have here. Now, I will tell you that Fastidious actually might have a better one that they do, unfortunately, and that's sad to say, right? Because you have you don't use Watch Our World's website. You have a content creator's website.
I have a button on my screen right now that I press during streams that says, "It is what it is. It is what it is." But like for 90%, 95, 98% of the player base, it's not that it's inaccessible, it's just at this point in the game, we don't have enough solutions for it to be common content for people to play. Like, you can play with it, you can toggle with it, you can try stuff, but most of us don't. And I mean most as in, like, we're talking about the player base that doesn't even watch videos. And that's a whole different world of people that, other compared to us, that, you know, may see a notification when a video pops up. They have no idea why this hard boss is sitting on the screen right now, and they're still trying to get Nightmare 2, and they jump in there one day after they got their Nightmare 4 started, and they're like, "Oh crap, uninstall." Like, you don't want people to go there, but that player base exists. But let them know, hey, it exists. Don't get frustrated because you can't beat it. It's not made to be beaten within the first week of it coming out. Just act Cetrum. I'm not Cetrum Simra. When it first came out, it was possible, but all those Guild Boss 1 teams were not working out. So we had to switch it up and actually adapt to the content. And then they shifted that. So expect it to change too.
The only way that... Oh, no, go ahead, Arcturus.
I was just saying, I was just agreeing with Mike, so go ahead.
No, I was just going to say, so at least from the few runs that I did on my end, whether it's first or second chest, and just looking at it at the drop and then comparing it to an NM3 chest, to me, at least those levels, it did not seem different. The only difference was that I was possibly getting a little bit more spirits, I think, in the Abyss 1 chest, and gear. I was getting gear ups. They were crap, but instead of getting like a psychic power, it was the gear piece. And
I've told everyone how to use psychic powers. I've told them the cheat code.
So to me, it was one of those things like, okay, do I want to give up the 2 chests on NM3 for 1 because of the guild right now where it's sitting, versus the 1 that I would get right now from Abyss 1, in the hopes that I think I might get an unpolished soulstone out of it with a greater chance than I would on NM3. Now, as I told people, if they release the raids and they said, okay, it's a 0.05 to get it from on top chest on NM3, but if you do an Abyss 1 and at least get to a second chest and it's 0.2, oh, okay, now I can say it might be worth it.
Yeah.
So that's one thing. The other thing I'm gonna keep an eye on, because this is with all these people that have well-developed accounts and are getting into the 40,000s, and I guess that if they continue to spend more time in it, they'll eventually fine-tune it to get to the top chest. But if we start seeing a lot of screenshots where maybe every 3 weeks they get an unpolished soulstone out of that chest, then I'm gonna start saying, oh, okay, might be worth it. But here's the danger. Now you're even creating more of a power. The separation between the haves and the have-nots now is spreading out even more, right?
But you know how they can fix that, right? they can have a quote unquote reward surge where this week the certain reward is more likely to show up, or you can select something you want to get some more of to show up in the chest. A wish list.
And you would.
I know that term stuck. I'm sorry.
I know, but it all depends. I mean, is Muntan playing the greedy card a little bit more, or do they actually want to play a little bit more of the player satisfaction card a little bit? See, because I've gone through this with Plarium. Plarium does it because of greediness. They know it.
Oh,
they
like. There's no doubt.
They admit it. They don't give a crap about player base.
I do not care.
So is Muntan going that way, or are they actually thinking that, oh, this is going to satisfy our in-game player?
Yeah. I think I'm going to go with the track record of the game so far, in the sense that sure, you can get into the ick when you get into high level arena. Of course, I mean, we can't think of a gacha game that has friendly arena, but it doesn't exclude this one from the same scenario. But generally, I'll say it's been a very generous game. I'll say that. Like, you can accidentally get 10, 15 summons a day in the shop alone before you even play any content. And they make a way to get a lot of the heroes. They've done 15x way earlier than any gacha game I've ever played. Which isn't, I mean, like at a small base, a small player, a small hero pool, I'll say that. It's a little Lego heavy, but we're working it out. But I want to say that it's the same as every game we've played. The loudest are usually the first ones to shout are usually the loudest, but give it time and see if it irons out. But you don't really get the thank yous over time. You just get people that still keep playing. Like, it's just somebody's like, oh, this is terrible, don't play, I don't want to get this is the last straw, and a week later they're making 3 more videos. So it's like, but it happens.
So Arturus, could you go to Abyss 1? I'm just curious about because Mike just made the comment. I want to see the top teams, because Mike just said this is Lego heavy, and I don't think I've seen Epic being used in this at all. It's like, at least in Legend Hydra, there were some opportunities for some epics to shine. In this one here, maybe Dolores, maybe.
Dolores is the only one I can see in the top 30.
He doesn't realize it yet, but he just said Hydra.
Yeah, I know.
He promised before this episode started he was not going to have a rant about Raid, and
I'm comparing it to that's the level of step, right? At least epics had an opportunity to shine.
That's true.
It's all about Legos, right? It's which Lego do you have, or I should even go one step further. Which limited do you have?
Yeah.
Were you smart enough to pick out Wukong, Kigiri, Dio-chan? Did you do the Alistar fusion? I mean, that's it down to, right?
Yeah. But the good thing is they do make it obvious you should get this hero, but you could also be outwitted by somebody saying, don't touch him, don't get him, and then a month later, I still don't have Gwendolyn because of a video, but I won't say anything about that.
No, you're not missing much with Gwendolyn, so don't worry about it.
That's true.
Her shields are okay, but I mean, she doesn't actually heal anybody with them. But the key issue is that you can put so many summons into one of those limited banners and have terrible luck. I put so many summons into Dao-chan, and I ranked on the ultimate leaderboard on the forum sector. Yes, it's a smaller pool. I had 54,000 points on the end. So a fair number. You can tell I've done a lot of summons.
Yeah.
I ended up with A0. I got a lot of good heroes along the way, and I can't complain about that. But to say, oh, yeah, well, you should have summoned more. It's like, I did. I ranked on the leaderboard.
I did summon more. Yeah.
and I was A0. So unless you're going to guarantee every 300, 350 summons on one of those that you're going to get one, regardless of where you are in the thing. If you're going to say, yeah, you're going to get these things, then I don't know. Because Yeah.
And I keep thinking about that system as well, where, you're guaranteed to get a copy of the hero by 500 summons or whatever again, or something like that. And I keep going back in my head whether it would be good enough, or if this game would survive it, because I can tell you right now that in King Arthur's Legends Rise, it's been all about release the hero, have the banner where you're guaranteed every pull you get is 50% chance to get that hero. And so if you are then to get him to what would be equivalent here to the 10 awakenings, now you have that hero ults per stop, and now you can go and beat the content. So would something like Watch Your Realm survive that mechanism where you get limited hero, okay, push, you spend as much as you want to get him to A5, and now go ahead and beat the content. But would that benefit the game? Or is this just a money grab? So, and then, and then you live and die by the system. Unfortunately for that game, it's detrimental to it because not many people stuck around now because they know, new hero, I have to spend another $800 to get him to C10.
Sheesh.
Right? And then, again, another new hero popped up because we need him for the hard mode. And people got tired of it. Just, then they start to leave. So essentially, that's what's becoming with this. Is we have had this series of limited events. Now, this is what I'm surprised about it too, is that this was like, to me, this would be like perfect opportunity. New dragon. Hey, if you left the game, come back in. Let's do advertisements. All these heroes might be coming back in limited banners.
What's next in Watch of Realms?
Yeah, next. Mike.
That's it, right there.
John, Kigiri might be coming back to battle this new dragon. This guy doing menacing damage, dropping meteorites left and right. Like the new Solcadens might propel you just in case you left them in the shell. It just, to me, this was like, this would have been so nice to see the ads maybe pop up in my Google phone, or see it on Reddit, or for those of you that have Facebooks, you might still see like an ad pop up. Watch Your Realms new dragon. Ooh, wonderful.
The trouble is they only use the AI generated ones, which have like these weird chibi characters that says you can get Captain Reeve on day one. This is a limited banner which ran twice and has not been seen for 18 months.
And
don't get me started on ads that you didn't give consent to. Don't get me started on that. But,
Watch Your Realms YouTube page. I didn't see a dedicated Abyss 1 video either. So missed opportunity. I feel like this is a missed opportunity to get new players in, or to try to bring old players back. And I don't know if they're also rushing the content out because of the development of other games that are coming down in the future. Similar in terms of gacha and mechanic, where it might be turn-based, or it might be, some other mechanism instead of tower defense that, is this going to be enough to keep those players from going and trying all those other games out? Because that's my concern right now is, hey, I do keep an eye on the space. I know the betas that are coming out, all the stuff that other people are trying out, and how some very popular games are like having spin-offs, but they're changing it, that instead of being a tower defense type, now it's an open world with still the same gacha mechanic, but now you get that open world, have a chance to explore a little bit more in terms of doing all these battles and stuff like that. And it's concerning how all of that interplays rolling into what their decision making is here. And so this all being part, and I'm sorry, you too. I warned you that there was
good. I got one right when you're done, so go ahead, go for it.
My whole thing is, not only did you rush it with bad coding, bugs, etc., not formalizing everything the Forerunner people gave you explicit suggestions on, and you just ignored it and you rolled it out as it was, and you did not have a fanfare that it deserved. This here, whoever developed it or whoever the team that developed it deserved a little bit more of a fanfare in terms of how they laid this out to be challenging for people.
I think this is the second time where I've told them an arena change is going to be problematic. The last time was the points system in Plat 3. And I said, this is going to be detrimental. People are going to be really unlike it. And the following week, they rolled it out to global. This week, last week, I was messaging customer service. I was saying, this sucks. Unless you've got specific heroes, it's not working. You've got a whole faction who's built around arena. Some of those units are very clearly single target focused, but you can't deploy them in a rate that lets you compete with the other single target the chaotic units. So the arbiters, who are like Jira, should be able to compete in single target arena against the chaotic faction. They can't. If I'm lucky and I can get to round 6, I could win because Jira can just stand there and get hit in the face and keep hitting back because that's what she's designed to do. But I'm 40% of my health bar down by the time I get through round 1.
Yeah. I'm going to mention an opportunity that was missed too. Along with that, it's not like Jira based, but it is an opportunity that was presented in a game and they just didn't follow up on. And I want them to. I'm giving it a name now. A limited revival banner. There needs to be some kind of a banner in the game where you can choose one limited hero and pursue that limited hero for that weekend. You can't change it. Once you choose it, and then your first summon is active. Because I remember even in the shop, there was a banner. There was a pack that said, "Hey, it's your last time to get limited heroes." And I was like, "Well, what's this about?" And I think it was right after Diao-chan's banner, if I'm not mistaken. I think that's when it popped up on screen. I was like, "Okay, I guess we're gonna have something come up involving limited heroes." And then nothing happened. So I'm like, okay, can we have an option for that for those that have missed limited heroes? You know, there may be somebody that's like got some godly idea of how to get Falcia back into the fray because of this new boss right now, and they want to get her. Or if they missed Diao-chan, they want another shot at her. Or they missed, Wukong and there was a big hoopla, but out of town or whatever the reason. A way to get them back in there, because if you're going to sell me a pack that says it's the last time to get them and then don't present a time to get them.
I mentioned Reddit earlier, Mike. I think you should go and sort of browse some of the comments on there, because I saw something. I'm not going to say it because I don't want to be accused of spreading leaks and misinformation, but I mean,
he's not spreading leaks, he's pointing out he's seen one.
I'm just pointing out seen one. Exactly.
It's a leak in the faucet. He's not spreading the leak. Yeah.
So there may be something on that topic. So stay tuned.
That's what we can do, unfortunately. But yeah, I mean, let's say a player that quit 3 months ago, maybe they say, maybe I got bored of this other game that I've been playing. Let's go. I hear about this new Dragon and Watcher Realms. Let me go look to see what's about. And then they look at the leaderboard and say, Wukong, Kigiri, and who's this? A Diao-chan? This is what I need? No, I'm out again. Goodbye.
That's it.
And yeah, it's unfortunately how they played this out, man.
I mean, if we can get a pack for a promised Eloin skin in the future, we can at least put something together now for the banner.
I still can't believe that Eloin skin, that people didn't realize they weren't getting it until the anniversary.
Yeah.
Well, every time they send that survey out, I always say, skin is the least of your problems.
Yeah. We want, like, and the reasons y'all might be noticing this, it doesn't sound like we're harsh on the game because we enjoy the game. Like, I do lots of lives. I don't make nearly as many videos as I used to, but I still play the game daily, regularly. I'm still passionate about it being successful, enjoy it like other people do, but we want to see it in a good state. Priority one is to see the game in a good state, what we enjoy playing, to be well polished and not rushed. So
Yeah, look,
So I will-
963 days in this guild. Okay, so I have been playing this game a lot. Okay,
Yeah.
I'm going to lose that record, and I'll be stuck on this day counter on global. So Forward, there's like a 90-day delta between this counter and the actual date, because they reset the day counter. So
Yeah, not for runner's bug.
yeah.
But I will say this: I do like the game as well, and this is probably why I rant. And because the last thing you want to hear me from me say is I don't care anymore, because the last time I quit that game and I left it and I never. So if you ever hear me say regarding this game, I don't care anymore, that's probably bad news. I'm looking for another game, or I'm already switched.
You already playing another game? Yeah.
Well, I will say this for those of you, Murder Mike does this nice. They're streams mostly, right? They're not videos anymore. They're mostly streams that I see. So whenever, if I'm at the office and I get to catch it live, I do hop on Mike's stream. He does this what you call a big hole day, right?
Yes, sir.
Is because he kind of rejuvenates me a little from the previous week, from anything for me the previous week, and I hear him talk about the game, and he starts getting okay, let's see, and then he starts popping legendaries left and right, or he's getting and then I'm like, cool, back on it.
Yeah.
Let's go. I'm gonna do my boy riff. I hope I get the same luck, and then I get crap, and then I say, okay, back to maybe next month. I get hyped up again, but if you guys can pop onto those streams, they're fun. I usually I'm in the background, I kibitz. If I do have time to type something out, I do type something out. But it definitely brings the joy to watch your run sometimes. So just make that when you have a chance, you go tune in. If it's not monsters, he's at least playing watching.
It's funny too that you say that. First off, thank you 100% for that. I appreciate that. But what makes me laugh so much, and I don't know why it makes you laugh so much, is Void Rift battles now, because you just run over the monster now.
I'm probably the only person who hates it.
It's bad for content creation, but it's so good for a player that just needs to get name, man.
The first time I was like, boop, that's it. Oh my God. Yeah, that's great, man. Yeah, I still definitely appreciate playing the game. Like, even after this, like, I got a stream I'm doing, but on top of that, I still got to knock out my Samurai boss. I normally do it early in the week now, but I got to do it later on tonight. So, like, I'm still active. And I did, to answer your question specifically earlier, I did play around with Abyss 1. But once I started seeing what it was sending at me, I was like, oh, this is brain power. Okay, all right, yeah. But I'm trying to find some way I want to try more unorthodox stuff. In other words, I want to make more mistakes. I want to find some way to get Durza and
I think Durza and Carnelian could be really, really effective.
That's what I was thinking.
If you can get the ball out there with a Durza in there, you're getting 70% damage reduction. You're getting the ball on everyone, so they shouldn't die. You wouldn't need Wukong. I mean, you just need additional DPS. But the fact that they're all going to be low health, he's putting out all this alien range health bonuses, damage bonuses. It's going to be nuts. I think he's going to be really, really powerful if Durza starts running in that thing. You've just got to find the build for him and the build for everyone else to deal with the fact that Durza is cutting their health in half. But I think he's going to be amazing in this one.
I know having Durza in the middle and having Carnelian behind him is part of the faction, part of the solution. And maybe Diao-chan either in front of Durza. I don't think you can fit 3 in anyway. But maybe putting Diao-chan to the side of Durza and working from there. It's got to be A1. But yeah, there's a lot of bells and whistles to it. I'm trying to find out what ways can I circumvent stuff without finding bugs, because you hate to find a good solution and to get patched out. But I want to see what ways can you manage and mitigate, because that Durza buff has been a big help. as crazy as it seems, it's been a big help. It's the biggest buff of any hero in the game. But I'd like to see how it plays out. I don't know how I'm gonna get Carnelian that fast, but I'm trying.
Okay. I think we're gonna have to call it there because we've been talking for about an hour and a half now. So I'm gonna actually leave these two to talk offline because they will. And I'm gonna go and get some sleep.
True.
But thank you very much for joining in, Mike. It's always a pleasure to have you on. You bring so much to this channel, and it gives me someone else to shut Sebastian down when he goes off on a rant. So thank you so much for coming on. He had warned me it was going to be a rant today, and I'm glad we didn't inflict this on someone else. And your short availability has made this much more pleasurable.
I enjoy these, man. I still tune in and watch these. These are like one of my main ways to know what is actually going on because I like watching it in one video. Like I used to watch like 4 and 5 and 6 of the same story, and I was like, man, that's becoming a challenge. To be able to get a consolidated area of information helps me a whole lot. Even as a content creator, to say, okay, oh, that's what's going on. All right, cool. Now I can do more than summons and artifacts.
I do joke that I'm the content creator's content creator.
Yeah, there it is.
I know that Mike was a perfect guest for this one, Arthur, but I'm going to tell you right now, a brother that shares the same battle scars as you is able to at least, understand where sometimes you come from, and same person sometimes can bring the yin to the yang. And
yeah.
A little bit on this as well, but like you said, we like the game. We ran for a reason. That's kind of what we talked about today. And for those that actually stuck around and watched the episode, we're just kind of giving you a warning what's coming up and what you're gonna have to do as well. So I don't see any quick changing. So we're just gonna have to contend with the system as it is.
Yep.
Okay, thanks very much, everybody, and we will see you all in the next episode.